The whole thing seemed to revolve about this chap Bevan. He was the owner of the dress shop Christoph's in Regent Street. The rest of them were working there. There was this girl. Something or other Gregory, her name was. She nursed a secret passion for Bevan. At least, not very secret. And then there was... Well, let's take Victoria. Don't look now, but I think Victoria has something to hide. Then there was a Chinese girl, Miss Armand Blossom. Bevan had taken a fancy to her and given her a job in the shop. She was a great success in the shop. And Aileen, one of the models. Aileen had a very grand young man, and she was very anxious to be grand herself. Oh, and this is Mrs. Harris, the char lady at Christoph's. Mrs. Harris also has something to hide. And here is Mr. Cecil. Mr. Cecil's the dress designer, and about once a week he announces his intention of committing suicide, and never does. And finally, Miss Doone. Gregory, that was the first girl we saw, was Bevan's right hand. Well, Doone was his left. And Bevan had a sticky time trying not to let his right hand know what his left was doing.
I arrived rather late, and I had Miss Gregory with me.
Good morning, Victoria. Good morning, girls.
Good morning, Mr. Bevan.
Good morning. My dear, the V-sign.
What a... She is.
In many Eastern countries, this is a secret animal.
Not for the parentage I had in mind.
Just because Gregory's just because she's so horrible, there's no reason for us to be vulgar. Aileen's Arthur wouldn't like us to be vulgar. You leave my Arthur out of it. Oh, darling, I was only laughing.
She was only teasing you.
My Arthur's uncle was a member of Parliament.
Now we know he's respectable.
My hat. Oh, Aileen, it's filthy.
We should try some salicylic acid, Aileen. That will clean it.
Well, perhaps I better go and do some work.
The cleaners will keep it for weeks.
That's why I say try some salicylic acid.
How can one get it?
Chemist, I suppose.
Let's hop over and ask him, Aileen.
Oh, but what of Gregory?
Oh, Hector Gregory.
Oh, it's all very well for you to say that, Victoria. If she told Bevan we were out of the shop,
One of these days I'm going to murder that woman. I'll pass you the weapon.
then I will lay out the corpse.
And Cecil can design an elaborate funeral, prancing horses with black plumes, and all of us in the purest white, with just a little dash of mauve for Doom.
And I can provide the exotic note in my ancestral robe.
My dears, the publicity.
Meanwhile, my hat is very dirty. You go to the chemist. I will take care of Miss Gregory. But, Armand, what will you say? I shall merely look inscrutable.
Be careful, it's enough to kill a man.
Do you want me to sign the poison book? Oh, she can write. Just showing off.
No, there's no need to sign the poison book. Careful just the same. What do you want it for?
She's going to poison Miss Gregory.
Oh, then there'll be no charge for poison.
You too, Mr. Jones. Oh, I say, can I weigh myself to nothing on your scale? Oh, shock. Still only 8 stone 7. Now who's showing off?
Oh, dear, dear, where are the girls? Don't tell me they've even gone on strike in Bond Street.
Keep calm, Mr. Cecil. There won't be a minute.
Calm, calm, I'm always calm, but you know perfectly well that Miss Gregory hates people to leave the showroom.
Let us hope that Miss Gregory will soon be removed from the manor.
Removed?
I mean that she will go to a new job at Deauville.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. But don't forget that Miss Doone might go.
I should not break my heart if both went.
Oh, Mr. Bevan couldn't spare both of them. They run the place between them. One would think that I had nothing to do with it. Yet where would Bevan be without my designs? Why, the place simply wouldn't exist.
The root and the leaves and the stem do the work, Mr. Cecil. It is a rose that gives forth a scent.
Yes. Yes, that's very true, Armand. You mean let them think they're so important if it pleases them. Nevertheless, it's a great shame that you couldn't have gone to Deauville. England must be a dull, cold place for you.
Yes, ugly and cold. It is true that I should like to go.
Thank heavens you're here at last.
We were trying to divest it.
Oh, now look what you've been and done. For goodness sake, clear that up quickly. You know what Gregory will say if she sees it.
What are you doing out
I'm
there?
just going to the office.
Here, let me do that.
Oh, will you? Then I can do my exercises. I forgot them this morning.
Oh, yes.
So did I.
Cecil thinks Gregory or Doone will definitely go to Deauville.
Pray it's Gregory.
I think Mr. Bevan would not be sorry to send Miss Doolan.
Oh, poor old Doolan. Yes, that affair's all washed up.
Alien's turn's next.
Oh, he couldn't. Why, my Arthur would murder me. Well, Bevan would murder you if you knew about Arthur. Bevan doesn't like his employees to be booked up.
Your hat looks better already, Alien.
Girls, get ready quickly. Lady Bale's arriving. I've just seen her rose. Oh! Oh, dear. Now look what you've been and done. Oh, well, you have to leave it.
Well, if lactic acid does the same thing for carpets as it does for hats, we shan't have sprinkling this year.
Come on, Victoria, let's get ready.
Okay, better not keep the old girl waiting.
What's all the fuss about? The showroom sounds like a parrot house.
Lady Bale's arriving, Mr. Bevan. Oh, dear, I'm so excited I don't know what to do. I mean, she's so rich. You know that the last time she was here, she spent over £300. Pounds.
Well, don't behave as though you've never seen a customer before. Armand, show the grey model, will you? And try and get rid of that silly peacock number.
What's that mess? Oh, it's something they've been cleaning a hat with. Oh, dear, you girls, you're so careless.
What is it?
It is lactic acid. I shall attend to it.
The lactic acid? That's poison. Really, Miss Armand, I should have thought you might control the girls better.
Poison?
Oh, girls, quickly, here she comes.
Everybody in this place is so irresponsible.
Poison crystals. Can you beat it, eh?
I honestly don't see how you can manage here without me. Don't you think I'd better stay and see you through this spring at least?
No, I'll have to manage. Doon can cope. Go and see what sort of a mess Cecil is making with Lady Bale, will you? And for heaven's sake, get rid of that peacock number. Mrs. Harris?
Perhaps I'd better take care of it.
I told you to go and look after Lady Bale. Now, Mrs. Harris, sweep this stuff up, will you, and put it in an envelope or something, and then leave it on the table. And be careful. It's poison.
You and your I'll take care of it. I'll take care of you, my girl, poking and prying, sneaking and telling. Sooner you leave to your foreign parts, the better it'll be for the rest of us. Don't be so sure I shall go. Oh, you'll go. He can't put up with you any more than the rest of us. You think it's because you'll be so valuable in the new shop. Because you're such a ruddy nuisance in the old one, that's what it is. What's that photograph in your pocket, Mrs. Harris? You leave me alone. The same one I found in the canteen with Darling Mum written across it. You shut up, you. I ain't got nothing to fear. I'm a respectable married woman, I am. I ain't got nothing to fear from a slut like you. You have nothing to fear. You so much as opens your ugly mouth. I tell you, miss, you got to watch out for the likes of me. I ain't one of your bread and butter young ladies here. Me and my kind, we don't put up with things. As soon as look at you, I'd take a slosh at you. If you value that painted mug of yours, you'll keep your mouth shut.
How many times have I told you not to call me Frank in the shop?
Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm absolutely worn out. The old girl's in a frightful temper. Cecil's having hysterics and making it worse with every word.
Do I have to do everything in this shop?
I really think you ought to go.
I've got all this stuff to do.
I'll do it for you, Frank. Oh, sorry. Just go and let me carry on. I'll take it home and finish it tonight.
Can't Doon go?
She always loses her temper.
All right, I'll go. That'll take me about an hour. Here, you cope with that. I know I can rely on you.
But, my dear, she just marched away and left me standing there. Why, even Lady Bale was taken aback. Where has she gone, she said. My dear, I didn't know where to put myself. I mean, you heard her, didn't you, Victoria?
Yes, I did, Mr. Cecil.
And so I shall say to Bevan, I shall say, how can I possibly create for a customer with that gorgon standing there glaring at me? I mean, it's too putting off. You do agree, don't you, Victoria?
Oh, she's gone out to show the toy poodle number.
Lady Bale, in the toy poodle number.
And what's wrong with that, may I ask?
Oh, only Lady Bale, Mr. Cecil.
You're all against me. Everybody in this place is against me. But where would you be without me? That's what I'd like to know. Why, it's my designs that keep the shop going at all.
Oh, I have said, Mr. Cecil, we are the workers. It is the rose that gives the scent.
That almond, whatever does she mean? It is the rose that gives the scent.
She means his work stinks, dear.
My dears, if you'd heard him. He just threw the model at me and said, fancy showing that to Lady Bale, he said. And you heard him. You heard him, girls, didn't you, telling me to make her buy it. I don't see anything wrong with the number. Oh, dear, I spent night after night sitting up creating it. And in the end, my mother said, oh, Cecil Lambkin.
Help me on with this lambkin. In my country, the lambkin is a sacred animal.
I can't bear it. I just can't endure it another moment. I shall put an end to it all.
My dear, this is where we came in.
I shall put an end to it all. I really mean it this time.
Well, girls, thanks very much. I think we calmed her down.
The girls all worked very hard, Miss Bevan.
You've all worked awfully hard, and I'm very grateful. Where's that fool Cecil?
The root and the leaves and the stem are all present,
But we seem to have lost the scent.
I think he's gone downstairs to commit suicide, Mr. Bevan.
What, again?
He doesn't know what his mother is going to say about the peacock model, Mr. Bevan.
Where are those crystals?
I thought you arranged about them.
I told Mrs. Harris to leave them here. Where is she?
What is it, Mr.
Oh,
Bevan?
Miss Gregory. Mrs. Harris should have put the poison here, and it's disappeared.
Mr. Cecil.
What about him?
He was in one of his flats.
Silly little fool.
Apparently you had not handled him very gently.
Oh, of course, it's my fault again.
Of course. No one else here makes everybody frightened and unhappy.
I could make you frightened and unhappy, my dear, with one single word, and well, you know it.
I feel a bit worried. He's so unbalanced.
Oh, now he's worried again. You really are the most irresponsible set of people that ever existed. You behave more like a pack of children than grown-up women, laughing and giggling in here with important customers in the showroom. This very morning you've been laughing and talking in here and making such a noise and commotion that I haven't been able to do a stroke of work. I shall have to take it home and finish it in my own time tonight.
Instead of going out with darling Frank.
Oh, Mrs. Harris, have you seen Mr. Cecil?
Put that on one side for Miss Gregory.
They told me you'd gone to commit suicide.
What's for lunch?
Smells like curried chicken.
Curried chicken, my foot. More like curried rabbit. In this shop, the rabbit is fast becoming a sacred animal.
No, not that one. That's Miss Gregory's. You know how terribly fussy she is about hers. And that belongs to Miss Doon.
Doon's going out for lunch.
Oh, yes, of course. Mr. Bevan's taking her out, isn't he?
Yes, to celebrate her being chosen for the job in Dozy.
Well, Armand thinks Gregory's got the job.
Ready?
I'm ready. Have you told Doon?
Magda? Good Lord, I've forgotten all about her. You know, I promised her days ago, didn't I?
I'll run down and let her know that you've changed your mind.
About not taking her to lunch.
And about the Deauville job.
Yes, perhaps I'd better break it to her myself, eh?
My dear, there'd only be a scene. Let me do it for you. A new hat, Magda.
I'm afraid I can't say the same for yours. And why have you got it on?
I'm going out to lunch.
Good heavens, you know two men.
Who are you going out with? A girlfriend?
I'm having lunch with Frank Bevan to discuss the Deauville job.
Actually, I'm going out to lunch with Mr. Bevan, and there won't be any discussion.
What do you mean?
I'm going to Deauville, and I am going out to lunch.
Do you mean to say that Frank sent you down to tell me this?
He knew there'd only be a scene.
I'll say there'll be a scene.
And you know how he loathes women who make scenes.
Do you mind letting me pass?
Personally, I think I shall rather enjoy it.
Well, I won't give you that satisfaction. Go on. Go out to lunch. And I hope you enjoy it. As for the job, you think you're so important and indispensable. You poor fool. The fact is he can't stand you around the place 1 second longer. Oh, I know he's sick of me. I have no illusions. He'll be casting eyes at one of these poor idiots any time now. And they'll be losing their heads and getting puffed up and elated with their own glory, just like you and me. Oh, but you won't be here to see it. You'll be stuck away in some tough and hopeless considerate job at Deauville. If he's tired of me, he's sick to death of you, my dear. I can tell you that. He loathes the sight of you, and he's grasping at this chance of getting you out of his way. Here, give him my lunch, and you trot off to the rest. I'd rather eat curried rabbit here every day of my life than caviar just before my banishment. You go off to your grand lunch, darling. And I hope it poisons you.
Doone took it all right, did she?
Yes, she took it all right.
Good. Waiter.
Oh, Mel. What's that, sir? It's French. It means not bad. Tetigiste AQ. That's Latin, sir. It means you said it. Ansilatic acid. That means the analyst's report is she's got enough poison inside her to kill an ox. A large dose, eh? Good Lord, yes, enough to kill her twice over. Yeah, they brought the stuff into the place to clean her hat. It's a shop, sir. Christophe AC. That's French for Christopher and Co. I don't know the Latin for it anyway. Well, let's take a look. Tetigiste AQ.
Can I do something for you?
Well, nothing in the way of a trousseau. Are you, Victoria David?
Miss Victoria Davis.
Oh, Miss David. I beg your pardon. Could I see your Mr. Bevan?
No, Mr. Bevan of mine. Who were they? Police?
With huge big feet.
Yes, a detective. But quite ordinary feet. The young one was rather nice. Smashing. Don't you think so, Toria?
Toria only noticed his quite ordinary feet.
Wonder what he's saying to his lordship.
Miss Gregory and Miss Doone are my assistants. Well, you know what I mean, don't you? Miss Armand, rather novel, don't you think? Is a vendeuse. Miss Victoria and Miss Aileen are models.
Miss Gregory, Miss Victoria, and Miss Amy.
Quite. I never employ married women. Home, children, husbands. Such a nuisance, don't you think?
Especially husbands.
My dear Inspector.
Well, never mind all that. What I want is an account of exactly what happened yesterday.
Well, I arrived rather late. And I had Miss Gregory with me.
I feel so awful because I brought the stuff into the shop.
It was I who suggested it.
Well, I brought it with you, Aileen.
But the way she fell forward, so limp, it was dreadful. I dreamt about it all night.
Poor Doone.
I offered to change plates with her at lunch. You remember that, Victoria?
And now the police and everything.
It will mean a terrible lot of...
Publicity, Inspector. And I can't afford bad publicity here. Can't you just drop the whole thing, my dear fellow? It was just a very unfortunate and quite unpredictable accident.
An exceedingly ugly and coldly premeditated accident.
You mean that somebody killed her?
I mean that it was not an accident.
Murder? You trying to tell me that somebody wanted to murder Magda Doon?
Oh, by no means.
Well, then?
But I think that everybody in this shop might have wanted to murder...
Murder me? Who could have wanted to murder me?
any one of 6 people. You aren't exactly popular here, are you?
No, but
Why is that? Do you know?
I can't understand it. I try to be friendly, but they don't respond. They don't seem to understand. Perhaps it is that, Inspector, that I don't understand them. They seem to me childish and silly. They make silly jokes and call each other pet and darling. And it doesn't mean a thing. If I call somebody darling, I mean something by it. If I do a job, I do it properly. I don't fool about and giggle in the showroom. I don't know. It's just that I don't like to be slipshod and irresponsible. I care too much about it all. And if things seem wrong, I report them to Mr. Bevan. But surely that's right, isn't it? To them it isn't. They seem to think I'm out to catch them, to make trouble for them. Sometimes I wish I could be as childish and silly as they are. I wish I didn't care. I wish I could let things go, but I just can't. That's the way I'm made. I can't fall below my standards. Take this business of the crystals, for instance. Phthalate acid crystals, poison crystals, dripped across the showroom carpet. What if a customer had come in?
You think that was careless?
Careless. It was disgraceful. It was monstrous. I told Mr. Bevan, I said to him, well, that's how it is. I just cannot let things like that slide. I must do my duty. After all, because of this carelessness, Doon has died.
Who had access to that poison?
Mrs. Harris was supposed to leave it on the restroom table.
Of course I left them there. Flat on the table, like Mr. Bevan tells me to. And anyone who says I didn't, she's a liar.
She's a liar.
Anyone who said I didn't would be Miss Gregory. No one else, that's why. But don't you listen to that, Miss Gregory, sir. I left them crystals there. And none of the young ladies even as much as laid eyes on them.
None of the young ladies?
Miss Aileen was busy changing and waiting on the customers. And the other young ladies, too.
Do you suggest, then...
I don't suggest nothing, sir. But Mr. Cecil was in there afterwards.
I tell you, I never even saw it, Inspector. Well, I saw the girls drop a few crystals on the showroom floor, and then, of course, the whole lot were knocked off the table in the restroom. But at that very moment, I was called away to attend to Lady Bale. Lady Bale is a customer, a very important customer. It takes all I've got to create for her, so naturally I couldn't be worried about a few little spots of powder.
But then you came back to the restroom.
It's that Gregory woman. That's who it is. She's always interfering and butting in. She makes me so nervous. I don't know what I'm doing or where I am. And then she rushes off and she tells Bevan. I was telling my mother about it. And she said, Cecil, my lamb, she said, why do you put up with it? Why don't you finish with the whole thing? After all, the whole place entirely revolves around you, she said.
Yes, yes. But the poison?
It was never there, Inspector.
It wasn't on the table in the restroom?
There was nothing there at all, Inspector.
And you had no other access to these crystals?
I never touched them, Inspector. Indeed, I never touched them. Oh, you do believe me, don't you? Yes, of course, I can see that you do, yes, Oh.
Victoria. My dear, the victory sign.
Victory for Victoria, I think.
Winking at a man.
In my country, this is a sacred animal.
You needn't be so frightened. You're in no danger, yet.
Danger?
Aileen, you know, don't you?
I know.
How do you know? How do you know who killed Doon? Because you do know.
I saw you picking up the poison off the showroom floor.
I thought so. Now, Aileen, I'm telling you, you're not in any danger, not yet. But you've no proof to take to the police, none at all. And they don't arrest people just on suspicion. You know that. Now, swear to me that you tell no one at all. They say it's always easier the second time.
This is getting interesting. I'm in a proper fog, sir. Convenient being a Saturday. I like having a look at them in their natural surroundings. What excuse are you going to give them for calling? Oh, we'll think of something when we get there. In the meantime, let's see if Miss Armand Blossom's at home. You wouldn't consider a small oil stove in here, would you? Just to warm the place up a bit?
Western humor is beyond the no doubt inferior Chinese mind.
No, I just mean that you appear to feel the cold.
Yes, a little. I take means to keep myself warm.
In Deauville, it'll be warm and sunny.
Yes. Miss Doone's tragedy has been my good fortune. She lies in the cold grave. I shall never be cold again. It is life.
It's death, and murder at that.
To murder for sunshine. That would be something new.
Yet it's true that now she's dead, Miss Gregory will have to remain in London. And you will go to the new branch in Deauville. I shall have to get rid of her. I confess to being paralyzed with fear.
But it was Doone that died.
Yes. Of poison intended for Miss Gregory.
Ah, don't say it.
I don't think we need really bother here.
Just because the girl's got a pretty face, sir?
Oh, she's got nothing to hide. I'm sorry to bother you, Miss Victoria,
Not at all.
but I wondered if Mr. Bevan had called to see you.
Frank Bevan? Good heavens, no.
Oh, I thought perhaps you might have been going out with him.
I've never been out with Frank Bevan in my life.
Oh, I'm very sorry. Excuse my asking, but are you engaged?
I'm fancy-free.
No boyfriend?
No boyfriend.
You mean no man ever comes inside this flat?
Inspector, I give you my word of honor. You're the only man who's been inside this flat since I came here. Well, if you won't tell him, I will, that's all.
Dare not, Victoria, warn me.
Oh, lucky to find you both here. Save me a trip.
She don't know nothing. No more do I.
You mean you're both quite devoted to Miss Gregory?
We don't murder people because they snoop and sneak.
It all depends what they find out.
And if we did, you'd be the first to cop it.
What could I find out?
Nothing. There is nothing. You leave her alone, poor dear. She got enough worries of her own.
Oh, worries, has she? But not connected with Miss Gregory.
I don't care tuppence either way for Miss Gregory.
Or you, Mrs. Harris?
I can't abide her, but I don't go around poisoning people. I might slosh her one, that'd be different. Teach her to keep her mouth shut.
You wanted her to keep her mouth shut?
Inspector, please be reasonable. Nobody likes Miss Gregory. I don't. Mrs. Harris doesn't. But we've got nothing serious against her, nothing. We don't care whether she lives or dies. And certainly neither of us could wish her the slightest harm.
Well, now, Bet, what have we got?
An headache, sir.
I suppose you want me to say Parmel.
Malditate. No, that's good, sir. Malditate. Headache in French.
Well, I haven't got a headache in any language. It gives itself a bit of sorting out. Now, who've we got?
Well, I thought you knew. Mr. Bevan, Mr. Cecil, Miss Aileen, smart piece, that, and Miss Victoria.
But not Victoria.
Just as you say, then that leaves the Chinese image, Miss Gregory, and last but not least, Mrs. Addis. Myself, I fancy Mrs. Addis.
Fancy or fancy?
Oh, sir.
This is Saturday afternoon. The crime was committed yesterday at lunchtime. An ounce of salicic acid was brought into the shop. A fatal dose. Everybody had access to the crystals, and everybody had an opportunity to put them on a plate of curry. And curry would be strong enough to disguise any taste. Everybody had opportunity. So it all boils down to one thing. Motive. Of course, we have to remember that it was intended to kill Miss Gregory. Of course, it's Miss Gregory herself. She handed the food to Doon, and she could have doctored it then. But why kill Doon? Doon wasn't getting the Deauville job, Gregory was. And Doon was already out of favor with Bevan, too. She wasn't a rival any longer, either way. No, I think we can leave Miss Gregory out and concentrate on Bevan, Aileen, Cecil, Mrs. Harris, and the Chinese girl. One of these five. Not Victoria, not Victoria. What is it?
Mrs. Harris, she's come to...
I heard her confessing, sir. I heard her threatening Miss Aileen.
Who?
Miss Victoria.
Thank you for coming.
What do you want me for?
I want to tell you who killed Doon.
Who killed... You mean... But why me? Why send for me? It's nothing to do with me.
Oh, yes, it is something to do with you. Come. This is Buddha, the All-Merciful. I have been praying before him for many hours. The detective interrupted me. I tried to tell him, but I could not. I had not then finished my prayers. Doon died of salicylic acid poisoning, and her death was terrible. Her murderer also must die, and her death also must be terrible. I have prayed to Buddha, and this is the reply. It is not permitted by my creed to take the life of the meanest insect. The sin must be paid for. I killed Doon, and I must die.
You? You killed Doon?
I killed her. The poison was intended for you, and so I have brought you here to tell you this before I die. I did not intend to kill you, Gregory, but I picked up the crystals from the showroom floor, and I thought that if you were a little ill, you could not go to Deauville, and then Mrs. Bevan could not spare Miss Doon, and I should go.
And then you let Doon take the poison plate.
I tried to change plates with her, but she refused. She was impatient. And so I shrugged my shoulders. If she were ill, the result would be the same. But she died. And I must pay the penalty.
No, you mustn't. You mustn't take it.
Leave me in peace.
And you thought it wasn't Victoria. The poison she could have picked up from the carpet wasn't enough to kill.
Well, don't look at me, sir. And this final report, sir. Easy 6. Arsenal to beat the Wolves. Don't be... I beg your pardon, sir.
Three-quarters of an ounce. But that's more than the fatal dose. But only just a fatal dose was ever brought into the shop.
And some of that was spilled on the carpet, sir.
Yes, spilt twice. And a lot must have been used on the hat. Bed, you and I are going to see a lot of the inside of chemist shops within the next half hour. So you don't remember the person at all?
We get so many people.
But somebody did buy some.
Oh, yes. That was sometime yesterday. And that's all I can remember. Oh, then there was the lady this morning.
Oh, never mind about this morning. I'm not interested in young ladies buying salicylic acid this morning.
No, of course not. Besides, that lady was Chinese. Chinese?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the last act. The denouement. The place where the guilty party confesses. Remember?
But no. Oh, no. I'm not standing for this. She's innocent, poor dear. She's just taking the blame. There's your murderer. There she is.
But why should I kill Doom?
It was meant for Miss Gregory.
But I still ask why.
Because she knew your secret, my girl. Because she knew you was a married woman. And Mr. Bevan don't have no married women in this shop. I heard her. I heard her threatening you. You says to her, I sees you picking up the poison, Victoria.
Oh, gracious.
No, I meant I saw you and Armand picking it up.
If Victoria's married, I assure you I know nothing about it.
Aileen and I realized that Armand had kept back a few crystals.
A few crystals? But he would have taken the whole ounce to have killed the girl.
So the main portion of the poison was stolen from the restaurant table. If it was ever put there.
Of course it was put there. Of course I put it there.
Because if it wasn't put there, then this girl's innocent. She only had the crystals she picked up from the carpet. Too little to kill.
I can't help that. I swept the stuff up and put it on the table.
And yet, since it is you against me, Mrs. Harris, you did have a secret, didn't you? You and Aileen. And Gregory had found it out.
You leave Aileen out of this.
To prevent her from telling it, would you have done murder?
You lay off her, you Chinese idol. If she says she put the stuff there, then she put it there. Yes, we had a secret. She's my mother. My young man's very superior-like. And we thought if people knew that my mum was only a char, he might think I wasn't good enough. Anyway, I've been cheap and silly. But I won't be no more. There's our silly little secret. And it's not the sort of secret people do murder for. Is it?
So there, my girl.
It merely means that the poison was put on the table after all. It's nothing to do with me.
You handed Doon her plate of food, Gregory.
You could have poisoned it then.
And it's true that you hated her.
What lengths were you ready to go to, Gregory, so as to get the job in Deauville?
It was her. It was her.
But you're all forgetting just one thing. That she was going to the job in Deauville.
Then that leaves you and me.
Well, it wasn't me.
Then it must have...
Quite.
Oh, don't be silly. It wasn't me. I never even touched the stuff.
Then what about the crystals that fell out of your handkerchief in the office this morning?
Oh, all right. I did take it. But not to kill anybody. I only wanted to kill myself. I wanted to scare everybody. I actually tried a little of it, but it was horrible. It made me sick, and I got frightened. I threw it away. I tell you, I threw it away.
What did you do with it?
I put it down the hoo-ha.
The what?
So there's only one left, eh?
Only one.
Well, let's have it. Let's see how it runs.
Mr. Bevan, how long have you ever kept a woman in your life?
My dear Inspector, if only I could lose them. Why do they cling to me, eh? Silly young girls. Experienced women of the world. Pretty women, plain women. Good women and... well, bad women. Clever women and stupid women. And after a little while, all women are stupid women. And the stupid woman is a dangerous woman.
Then you were afraid.
I was bored, Inspector. When you're as old as I am, you realize how much worse it is to be bored than to be afraid. But the fear of being bored, that's the ultimate terror.
Frank.
Oh, I was bored with you too, my darling. It was terrifying just how bored I was. And Magna too, only you were the worst. I realized that yesterday morning when you came down to the flat. So bright and enthusiastic, like some silly rabbit. Doting on every detail of this wretched shop. Concentrating on every moment of my personal life. I knew then I couldn't stand you any longer. So I wrote to Magda, telling her she had to let you go to Deauville instead of her. I told her I couldn't cope with you a moment longer. That you'd hypnotize me? What was the phrase I used?
I confess I am paralyzed with fear.
Of the two evils, Doon was so much the lesser. With you out of the way, I knew I could deal with her.
You could always have opened another branch of the shop.
So murder was not necessary.
But so much swifter.
Very dramatic, Inspector. But where did I get the poison? 1 ounce was needed to kill the girl. 1 ounce came into this shop. But this mother's wonderful hair confesses that he took most of it.
Exactly. So that if we could find somebody who had brought a 2nd ounce of poison into the shop. I've been to all the chemists around here this afternoon.
And what have you found?
I found one who yesterday morning sold 1 ounce of salicylic acid crystals. But he can't remember who he sold it to.
Your denouement is brilliant, Inspector. You know all about the murder, but nothing about the murderer.
But I know something about the murderer's shoes. As I came out of the chemist's shop, I tripped over a grating. I can't get the paint mark from my shoe. I was wondering if the murderer did the same. It was a pale green paint.
Pale green.
Does that remind you of something?
But I remember seeing a mark. Now, what shoe was it on? Oh, heavens, I can't remember. Yesterday afternoon. A black shoe? Yes, a black shoe. A lace-up, I think. A black shoe, a lace-up with... Yes, with high heels. But I know who she is. It was...
Agnes Gregory, I am arresting you for the murder of Magda Doon. And I warn you that anything you say will be taken down and may be used in evidence. We thought that Doon might have been killed by somebody who wanted to go to Deauville. Gregory killed her because he didn't want to go to Deauville. If she went, her last chance with Bevan was gone. She deliberately sent him to cope with Lady Bale, skipped out of the open window of his office, and ran to a backstreet chemist and bought the extra poison. She must have put the crystals on the plate as she handed it to Doon. And that was that. You know, even now, poor old Bevan doesn't realize we're married. By the way, darling, where did you put my pipe?